Welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And I think we'll start off with a curveball, no pun intended. Let's talk a little bit about baseball, Dr. Lopkin. What's on your mind?
Yeah, we've talked about the downfall of Major League Baseball for a couple of years now on the air. And now that baseball came back this year, they set record ratings for ESPN. The local broadcasts are also showing record ratings. Major League Baseball showed they could finally adapt, and the changes they made to deal with the pandemic seem to be going over very well with viewers. You've got faster paced games, and the fact that there were no sports for so long, Major League Baseball was actually able to adapt, take advantage of this, and they've turned themselves around like very few organizations during this pandemic have been able to.
I would agree. I think the rule changes and just the way they seized an opportunity, they really did. They could have laid down and played dead. They could have done that, but they didn't, did they?
No, not at all. I mean, they made some major rule changes, designated hitters in both leagues now, which evens out the gameplay. You've got faster games because pitchers are required to face at least 3 batters. So you don't have pitching changes every batter anymore. Extra innings now start with somebody on second base, so you don't have as many extra innings in tie games. And the fact that doubleheaders now only have 7 innings, everything is geared towards making the game play faster, and the audiences have responded. Now, of course, I'm sure it didn't hurt any that people can't actually go to the baseball stadiums, so they're watching on the air. But the ratings have been higher than they've been in years.
I wonder if they'll keep those rules. I think they should as we transition into let's just say, more of a normal life.
Oh, they're definitely planning the rules. The rules actually started last season and just sped up this season. So, yeah, these are new rules, not just for this season. They're going forward. So hopefully Major League Baseball may have figured out how to save themselves.
I like that. That's let's say, a silver lining in a very black cloud. I like that.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's excellent. And, the black cloud still continues. And Donald Trump did some executive orders about the stimulus. I know there's negotiations, but it doesn't seem like it's going too well. In fact, I think Nancy Pelosi's actually gotten some backlash from the liberal media. So what say you, Dr. Lopkin?
Yeah, the Democrats really hunkered down. They wanted to make long-term changes rather than just passing a stimulus package. They were trying to get their agenda through. And when the Republicans said, you know what? No, let's just pass all the things that we all agree on, and the Democrats said no, it reflected very badly on them. Donald Trump did some executive orders. Honestly, some of them I don't agree with. I don't think they're going to help. And some that will help, I'm actually not sure he has the authority to sign. But the fact that he is willing to move forward forced the Democrats to come back to the bargaining table. And it shows that the Democrats were not trying to help the working class. They were trying to get their agenda passed.
Yeah, I think they saw a weakened Donald Trump, thought they could take advantage of it. Nancy Pelosi always does that. She has a knack of doing that. I think she overplayed her hand, and I think it's helped Donald Trump, which you see him actually ticking up a little bit in the polls, in the polling numbers, don't you?
Yes, he has been ticking up. People have been more approved of what he's doing. I still, at this point, for re-election, have him at 50-50. I honestly believe this election's going to go to whichever candidate takes their foot out of their mouths fastest.
Agreed. Well, speaking of someone who's known for putting his foot in his mouth, Senator Biden, Vice President Biden, picked Kamala Harris as his running mate. What do you think of that?
Honestly, I think this is not going to help him as much as he thinks it will. He was determined to have an African American female to try to get female voters, African American voters. Here's the problem. Take a look at Kamala Harris's performance in the primaries. She didn't even make it to the first primary. She was eliminated quickly. Why? The African American community doesn't like her because she, as Attorney General, she prosecuted more African American males than any other AG. She has not been there for the African American community. And I think that, combined with the fact that she attacked Joe Biden for not supporting busing and desegregation way back when, this is not a ticket that's really there for the African American community. They're trying to make image stand out over substance. Will they be
I would
able
agree
to
with
do
that.
it? Will they be able to do it? Maybe. Lord knows Americans have a short attention span, but I certainly hope people will actually look at their records.
Yes, I think that's true. And also, beyond her record as AG, she also was not a good candidate. She just wasn't compelling.
No, she was a terrible president. Yeah, she was a terrible presidential candidate. And the fact of the matter is, she's from California. California was not going for Trump anyway, so she's not bringing any electoral votes to the press.
Yes, I would agree. So overall, you think it's a net wash?
I think it's a net wash. I think people were expecting him to, he already said he wanted a female running mate. There was a lot of noise about forcing him to take an African American female. Honestly, there are African American females who are much more qualified for the job than she is. I don't think she brings anything to the ticket.
I would agree. Do you think there will be debates? Final question.
I do. I still think there will be debates. They may do them via Zoom, but I think there will be debates. And I think that's going to hamper Joe Biden.
I think that's the election. How does that sound? It's a 50-50 proposition now. If Biden blows it, Trump wins. If he gets over reasonably unscathed, then everything's up in the air. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. I still say it's 50-50. I think whichever candidate manages to keep their foot out of their mouth longest, that's the one that's going to win it. And unfortunately, both candidates have long histories of sticking their foot in their mouths.
I would agree. Well, Dr. Lopkin, any final thoughts, or should we just conclude this edition of Carnivore Bites?
I think that's pretty much everything. We had, some primaries go forward this week. There's, not much to say about that. Joe Biden at this point is running unopposed. The one thing that is important to note, that where there were local elections, because of all of the COVID-related precautions, most primary elections that went forward on Tuesday are not expected to yield results till at least Thursday. And that's something that we're going to see in the general election. If we go forward with a lot of these precautions, you're going to see in November, we're going to have 3 days before we actually know who wins.
I agree. That would be an interesting dilemma. And we'll be broadcasting live on Friday. Hopefully we'll have a teacher who's going to shed light on their feelings or her feelings on going back to school, which is approaching very rapidly.
All right, so join us at 4 o'clock Eastern at blogtalkradio.com/Carnivore Radio. See you there.
Take care. Thanks a lot, Dr. Lopkin.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.